Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome to the last part of Dick Tracy replay on the Sega Genesis. I say last part because I know I'm gonna be doing two worlds or two big stages in this episode, and these are precisely the two that remain for me to complete the game. So let's search the warehouse where apparently this big boy enemy is. Now you begin the level from the top, which is basically the same type of gameplay, but basically you have to move the machine gun or shooting down, but it's basically the exact same thing. And throughout the level, or in certain areas of the level, you will see certain pits which will make you die if you fall into it. It's not just a lower platform you can choose from. You immediately die if you, I insist, if you decide to go down. But it's more of the same, right? Nothing new under the sun. So yeah, I am doing pretty short games in general terms. I remember actually taking longer when doing the original versions of these playthroughs. Well, there are a couple of reasons for that. First of all, actually there is one big reason. Even if I uploaded videos pretty much every day or every other day, as I am doing with this project and many other replays, as you know, I am, well, since 2009 to the current dates, videos in general for all users, I would say, have been longer because, you know, the 15-minute limit is pretty much over for all users who are more or less regular. So yeah, everyone is making 20 to 30-minute videos, if not longer. Sometimes I post longer videos than that, but generally, yeah, videos are around between 15 or 20 minutes, not just 10. So yeah, in 5 minutes you can actually make a lot of progress. So instead of making 6 or 7 videos of a single playthrough, I just used 2 up to 3 videos. Okay, that wasn't a hard level. As you could tell, it's more of the same, I insist. But now you start from the upper platform, which is no big deal. A new lead? Yeah, this is the last, I think third and last car level, and the cheapest one. Especially at the end, you will see what I'm talking about. But yeah, you will see more cars. You have to deal with more cars from the very beginning. And but you will see at the end, it will be a real pain in the ass. I wouldn't be able to tell you how many times I actually died in that area. But yeah, here the important thing is to keep shooting all the time. And in here, as you can tell, even if I was ducking behind the car, I was hit by the machine guns on the other side of the screen. That means being or ducking all the time will not always protect you against these enemies in the background. I suggested last time that if you get behind the car, you are pretty much protected and you just have to worry about the enemies that are right in front of you. But actually I got hit and died pretty much because I thought I was safe behind the car and still got shot by the machine gun, which makes no sense at all, but video games, right? Let's not question them at all. Halfway through. Okay, this is not a terrible part yet. It's pretty much like the other ones. I think once I'm done with this other car in the front... Okay, look at this. 2 cars with enemies. Dude, you have to consider the amount of enemies that come out of each car. Look at that. It never ends. Look at that. The same brown suit guy appears like 3 times or 4 times. I'm just gonna assume it's the same guy and I'm not just killing 5 guys inside the car, which makes no sense. Again, let's try not to make any sense out of video games, right? It lit copper. That's Flathead. I wonder why he is called like that. Oh, Flat Top, well. Wait, isn't this another level that takes place in a restaurant? Another boss battle? I believe so. But it's more or less the same. It's pretty similar to the previous couple of bosses. They insist on shooting with a machine gun. This is a little move I actually discovered later on the playthrough itself. Well, it's pretty simple, it's pretty basic. It's the fact of ducking and using the machine gun while ducking. And also jump when he's shooting with the machine gun downwards. Because they can shoot you to do two different directions with a machine gun, either up or down. As you could just see, well, I just got hit by being ducked all the time. But you can either jump in order to avoid the machine gun hits, or duck, like you just saw. So you basically you have to use basically a sort of defensive strategy, in the sense that you can just shoot at the guy, or probably just hit him once and then wait for him to do the strike back, but not necessarily expecting to hit him in that second attempt. Being offensive in the first one and being defensive in the second one, basically. I'm still trying to shoot with the machine gun while ducking, which could work. It depends on the direction he's shooting. We're shooting up, so I was ducking. Of course, if you want to make the battle fast, you will try to shoot him in the 2 attempts, but as you could just see, I was trying to be offensive and then defensive. And this is the last part, which is actually a pain in the ass, because he can appear in any fucking direction, even in the upper floor. There's a little platform, as you can see in the background. He can appear from there. So I'm just shooting randomly. I'm not even guessing or anything. I'm just shooting randomly and he appears in the direction precisely I'm shooting at. So that's why it's going dark immediately. If I take one more hit, I'm dead, so... And he appeared up there, as you could see. Again, I'm just guessing, shooting in all directions. I don't know any pattern. I don't know if there is any patterning going on, so... Basically, I'm just guessing. And I won. By guessing. Down where you'll never find them. Down. Probably he refers to sewers. Last bonus round of the game. Time's going a lot faster. You don't have so much time to know where the enemies are going to appear. It's a lot easier when 3 enemies appear immediately. I hesitated for 1 second there because the third guy looked like an enemy, but it was a mailman. This is the case. There are 3 sets of enemies. They were just enemies. I'm following Big Boy into the sewer, as I predicted, after rats. Pretty good analogy right there. Yeah, they're making excuses, if you saw the other piece of the dialogue, making excuses for you not to be able to use your gun. But you know, this is not too terrible. I died a lot of times here, but the thing is, what you have to avoid in levels like this, especially since you have no range attacks, in this case the bullets, what you have to do is not to make 2 enemies be together in the same place as I am doing right now, which is a total mistake. They're gonna be following you, but some enemies are just going to stay in their current place, so they don't always be like together all the time. The thing is, before going forward, try to kill as many enemies or make them come at you as many enemies as you can in order, or before proceeding. That's probably my most important piece of advice in this case. You can wait for the enemies, and then you can proceed. Enemies will not respawn. But there are too many enemies though. That's probably the only, or the big problem here. So it will be a lot easier to deal with only 1 or 2 enemies as you are moving forward. But if you move forward, trying to avoid enemies, not killing them, there will be like 6 or 7 guys at once. And of course, it's impossible not to take a hit out of that bunch. Okay, this is a pretty gay a bad combination, because if I say gay, a lot of homosexuals will take it personal. So yeah, this is a bad combination, as I was saying before. This guy shooting while ducking, and at the same time those guys throwing bombs. But again, you have to wait for one of them to attack, or basically go to your position. Even those guys like being in commando position and shooting, if you go away, they're gonna be chasing you at least a couple of steps, so it will be easier for you to punch them. Instead of going to their position, they will go to your position, so it will be easier to kill them instead of going forward. Again, I am explaining this like 3 times in 3 different ways, but you know what I'm trying to say. Try not to get so many enemies together in the place, especially since you have no bullets, and wait for them to go to your position, kill them, and then move on. I mean, 2 or 3 enemies is just fine, but 6 or 7, no. This is the last guy. Throws a bomb God knows where. I made it look easy, but trust me, I died a lot of times. But I learned the lesson. You can take up to 3 hits, or 4 hits. Depends. Hardboy and a Fugitive. This is by far the hardest fucking level in the entire game. And this is where it applies my theory in a way as well. The fact of taking small steps, don't go forward so much, because enemies will appear in every single fucking area of the level. So you better wait or move just a little bit, wait for some enemies to appear, kill them all, and then move, because yeah, it's not a good idea to keep moving all the time. And you have to know the patterns from these enemies, especially those with brown or yellow-ish suits or whatever. I mean, mine is yellow, the other ones are like brown. But these guys that roll, for example, enemies with this color that you can see right there, they'll roll and shoot while rolling. Most of the time. It didn't happen in this one occasion. But yeah, most of the time while they're rolling, even if you try to kill them fast before they shoot, they want to shoot anyways. So you basically will have to jump, like it just happened. But yeah, you have to move very slowly. So before taking on an enemy, make sure there are no enemies around. The game will be hard enough just by dealing with the enemies like in your position instead of the ones by the front using the machine guns. So the guys with the machine guns are just making the game a lot more difficult to deal with. Dead. Yeah, another thing that sucks is that you cannot kill them from a distance, so you have to go and then and provoke them or something like that. I'm still taking hits, even if I'm trying to make small steps. I'm about to die. Okay. Oh, I thought I was done. Of course not. But yeah, this is by far the hardest level in the game. Especially if you consider that bullets take 2 energy points out of you. Rolling enemies are the worst. That's for sure. The other ones have a very fixed pattern and you can predict from a distance. But these guys rolling appear anytime. That's a good example of what I was talking to you about these rolling guys that shoot while rolling and you have to jump in order to avoid the bullets before shooting them. Which sucks, I insist. Yeah, I beat it, but with a lot of problems. So now we're gonna beat the final boss, or fight the final boss, another one with a beautiful face. All of them, it's been the tendency for all bosses. So yeah. Now you're gonna beat or fight Big Boy, which is not a hard boss compared to others. It's no harder. I'm not gonna say it's easier, but it's no harder. There are not so many enemies in the front. You have basically to use the machine gun at all times. You'll be using the machine gun sometimes, but again, you can use the defensive technique, if you will, if you want to call it like that, of either ducking or jumping depending on where he's shooting the machine gun at. But yeah, the majority of enemies will be in the background. The gear house. Kind of a weird location. These guards are easy. Yeah, it's easier to deal with those enemies specifically because they are not guys spamming from the background. Okay, now this is a section in which it becomes a little bit harder, but not even that. The enemy will start like either shooting, yeah, he will be shooting gears in order to make them fall in your head. But it's generally easy to avoid. They will go to your position, of course, some others are random. And I think the level itself is over in terms of the scrolling part. It's at that end. So you basically now have to kill the boss. As you can see, the gears are going kind of slow, so you have the time to avoid them. 1 or 2 seconds at most. And he will come out of the doors, sometimes shooting the machine gun. Pretty much the pattern of the last 2 or 3 bosses we fought. It's not even shooting machine gun, it's just one shitty pistol. Anyways, he's coming out of the door, sometimes he's gonna throw the gears. Many of them, sometimes, some other times just one as the previous case, the previous example. Ball itself is kind of slow. As you can see, the timer is going kind of fast, so only one little problem. The battle itself is not harder than other bosses, as I said before, but yeah, the time factor is something that you have to pay attention to. One more shot. See, I ran out of time, but the boss ran out of health and died. I'm glad that water... You like water, people, because I'm sending you out the river. I'll be back for you, blah blah blah. He doesn't kill enemies apparently, just defeat them. Punching ratio is shitty. Pistol hit ratio is shitty. I just shoot. I don't care about shooting one bullet and kill the enemy immediately. I spam until I make sure I win. Tracy wins, another case. Yeah, they don't say Dick wins, another case. Good smile. Yeah, and that was it. Shitty ending. I don't care about endings anyway. I mean, yeah. The game is fun, but it's so fucking hard. So yeah, if you have the patience, go and play this game. Some people said something about the NES version or blah blah blah. I never actually played or seen the NES version, and considering that they consider the few that commented on this playthrough said that this version is better, I don't think I'm touching or even seeing the NES version. Probably for the shits and giggles, but that's it. Anyway, this was requested to me years ago. That's why I told you, if I wasn't requested this game, probably I wouldn't have paid any attention to this. Anyways, thanks for watching. See you next replay.